Hey guys, welcome to WDWNT Nerd Alert. I'm your host, Joe Hogarty, and joining me tonight is Jack McCarthy.
And I am Jack McCarthy.
So on tonight's show, what we're going to discuss some news, and we also have to talk about the latest episode for us, The Bad Batch, which is episode 3. And actually, sorry guys. But first, all right, let me ask you, Jack. I know you finished watching Invincible. What'd you think?
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was great. I would recommend that to anybody over 18 to watch.
Yeah, I would say that's a good age range for that. It does get pretty bloody and gory and stuff like that. But
it gets very bloody and gory. But we had talked about online about how you're watching this and you kind of almost forget it's animation because the story just sucks you in so much. And the voice acting is just so terrific that you kind of has a cinematic quality to it that you really forget you're watching animation. And it's a damn good show.
Yeah, props have got to go to the writers, to the director, the voice cast, and again, who's ever directing the voice cast. I think they did a fantastic job. I mean, I don't have any complaints with any character in that. I was telling you my only episode that I didn't like was when they went to college and that guy's boyfriend, they turned him into a monster.
That cyborg thing.
I kind of felt bad for him, you know. It's like, but I respect the fact that they didn't make him save the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, in that he returned back to normal. Like, they took a risk. It's like if it was Star Wars, the Rise of Skywalker, the guy would have been hidden in a closet somewhere, and they were like, "Oh no, that wasn't really him," you know. So I'm glad that they did that. It kind of adds some like really groundedness to it.
Okay. Even that episode I enjoyed. I like the fact because here it is, even though he was trying to get away from the hero business just for a weekend away with his friends, that he still ended up getting sucked into it. I'm sorry, I gotta change my background. This is getting very distracting to me.
All right, it's on for a little bit. I kind of liked it. I wanted him to have it on there.
It's kind of cool. It's very dramatic. But
I like that it was rotating. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's still kind of like, I don't know. It's throwing me off my game here. Let me get something a little bit more static.
But you know what's weird that I had read online is that a lot of people were complaining about his girlfriend. And I watched that show looking for why, you know, almost like alert. She's going to do something that's going to piss me off. And she never did. I thought she was a good character.
I thought she was good. And you know what? I think people might have been thrown off because she kind of did get away from that classic, you know, girlfriend role we used to see in the comic books where, gee, I wonder where he could be. No, she actually started getting pissed off about it and started calling him out on all this stuff. So it showed she had a little bit more depth than the stood up girlfriend trope, you know, that you see in a lot of comic books when the hero gets involved with somebody. So no, I thought she was a good character. I liked all the characters in this. I thought they were all very good.
But you know what's funny is, like, again, when his friend went to go speak to Invincible's father, and and then he said he was Omni-Man, and all of a sudden he's like, "What?" It's like, how could you not tell? He doesn't wear a mask. He's got the same mustache, same disguise, and everything. That's a bit weird.
Yeah, but then again, the same college episode where, you know, he's saving his friend and he's like that close, and the friend is like, even though you're in a costume, you still recognize people. You know, and he's like, dude, you're invincible.
Well, the girl figured it out, you know.
Yeah, they all around was a very good thing. I thought it was great. There really wasn't, I couldn't find anything to pick apart in it. I thought it was good from start to finish.
And that fight at the end was awesome. That's one of those things you can watch over and over again.
That was incredible. That was better than the Man of Steel fight.
It was. It's
why, but here's the reason why. You were invested in it. You were invested in these characters. It was very hard to get, attached almost to Superman, Clark Kent in Man of Steel or anything else. But with this, you like this kid and you felt for him because you knew he was trying to do the right thing and he had all the tough times. And then his father completely flipped his world upside down. And even his wife got it, that she thought she was married and he thought she was a pet, like
Yeah.
I mean, everything, relationships were just flipped all around and you actually felt for these people. As opposed to, oh yeah, look, oh yeah, oh Lois Lane fell out of a plane. I hope she survives. No, this was you were really invested, and you felt bad when things happen to people.
Well, what's great is like Jack and I never read the comic book before, so we had no idea what was coming up next.
I think that's also a big benefit of it.
Like we didn't know who was going to win at the end, or if who was going to survive and all that. So again, it's pretty cool. It kind of makes me question my whole idea about what getting into spoilers and stuff like that. Like when I read spoilers way before a movie comes out, it's like maybe I shouldn't.
You get into spoilers when the film is still in
production,
pre-production.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, let's get into the news.
Let's get into the news.
So Kevin Feige is saying he regrets casting or having the people cast Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One. Did you hear this? I guess you're shaking your head.
I heard about that. It seems like he's on an apology tour. I don't know what's going on with him.
He is annoying.
It's you know what? This wasn't a movie that just came out. This came out years ago, and it almost seems like things are a little quiet. I need to get my name out there again. Let me go drop this thing, because honestly, I remember people were complaining about the Ancient One when the movie came out. Like, it's not really the Ancient One. It should be this old ancient Asian man and stuff. But they put a new twist on it. And honestly, the way they tied it together, where she eventually find out she was using the dark magic to keep herself, young and, not, well, getting old and ancient. She was ancient because she had the years, but her body was still in shape where she was healthy. She didn't have old age problems creep up. I thought it was a clever twist on how they did it when I actually saw her in the role and how they explained it and worked it out in the movie. But it's like, what? I get why they didn't want to do it, because they were afraid of, I guess, seeming like they were catering to that, trope of, the ancient Asian mystic kind of thing from the East. And they were trying to get away from it, I think, because if they did, they would have gotten slammed. Can you imagine?
Let me tell you the real reason why they did it.
Well, I know why they didn't make him Tibetan, but they could have made him. There's lots of Asia's a very big place,
Well, yeah, that's just it. Like what you were saying, like, because he forgets. He's trying to say it's like, well, we tried to do something, different by changing the gender and the race of the character and all that. But no, that's not the reason. Back then, again, they didn't want to cast someone that was from Tibet because China had such a huge problem with Tibet. And I think in a way they also felt, well, if we cast someone that's Chinese in the role of someone that's supposed to be from Tibet, Tibet will have a problem, but probably a lot of the world will revolt around that too. So for him to say that, the reason why we did it is we were trying to promote like a strong woman and stuff like that. He's full of crap.
No, I don't think that was exactly. I don't think that's what they had in mind. They're like, okay, how can we get this as far away from the ancient Asian mystic as we can? So let's change the race from Asian to white, but we're not going to make it a white guy. Let's make it a white woman. I think they went in that direction just to get away from it. But it's the same way if in the Shang-Chi movie, if they did Yellow Claw, which was really like a throwback to the pulp novels of the early 20th century, people would be screaming bloody murder. You know, so we'll have to see what they do with that. But I mean, really, Yellow Claw was a stand-in for Fu Manchu, and you know, he had the
long mustache,
beard, you know, the mustache that came down straight, but like no, but the point and the pointy beard, and he had the little fez, and he had the fingernails that were like claws coming out. Like people would be losing their stuff if a character
Big Trouble
like
in Little China. Big Trouble in Little China.
Which I think would have a lot of trouble if it was made today.
I know. I'm surprised people aren't protesting against that movie.
Right. But
must be banned.
But
I like it though.
That's it. You can't make this. You can never make Blazing Saddles today.
I know.
Are you kidding? Yes, it's a funny movie, but you couldn't make that today.
But what's good about that movie, Blazing Saddles, is that all races like it, you know, because they can find humor amongst themselves, you know.
Because everybody gets it at one point or another.
Yeah, you know, it's like
we're not racist. We insult everybody.
Well, not necessarily that, but you know, it's kind of showing like the ignorance of prejudice, but it's also showing like some stereotypes that may have existed back then that people have seen, that they still laugh that people used to behave that way. And people were a lot less offended than what social media makes you believe. Like, I'm sure a lot of people on social media, if they watch Blazing Saddles right now, they would be protesting outside Mel Brooks's house.
You couldn't make All in the Family today. You couldn't make The Jeffersons today. You couldn't make Good Times today. Or even What's Happening. You couldn't make
The Jeffersons today. A good time today. I don't see any problem with that. All in the Family.
There were a lot of stuff that they'd be like, oh, wait, you're joking on a stereotype, you know? And, you know, that's kind of the way things were back when it was made, you know? Dynamite, you know? But like I said, I get it, but the apology tour is done.
Yeah, no, he's got to stop it.
Why be apologizing for a movie that was made how many years ago? And you know what? People like Doctor Strange. People liked seeing her come back in Endgame.
Yeah.
You know, not
it was good.
So why the need to apologize?
And isn't it insulting to her?
What you're doing now.
Like, isn't it insulting to her? I mean, you know, because she did do a good job, and now all of a sudden he's kind of like, I wish I didn't cast her, you know. He just needs to shut. He's getting too big of a mouth. He, like, with all this stuff that he's been doing, like with who is it that we talked about last week, where he said he didn't want to cast some guy. Oh, Doctor Strange. You know, in Doctor Strange and WandaVision, because you know nobody wants to see a white guy telling Wanda how to do her stuff and all that. It's like, shut up, pal. You know, just sit there, count your money. You know, be happy. Don't try to.
You know what? This is what you thought. Keep it to yourself. Why are you coming out and saying this? Except, you know, like, I need to get some attention. Yeah. And it's just like, come on, dude. You're right. Just be happy, staying at home in your mansion, counting your money.
Yep.
Get that big room with that Scrooge McDuck gold coins everywhere and go roll around in it, you know?
So I just shared this video with you before. Brie Larson working out for the Marvels.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
I'm pretty impressed because, I looked into it. So she's 121 pounds. All right. So first of all, she's doing pull-ups, which they're easier than chin-ups, but it's still impressive. Like if you can lift your whole body, you've shown
Could
that you
never
have
do
muscle
one on
strength.
one, much less she's doing it and she's holding on up there, keeping steady, keeping her form, and she's got she had chains on her.
She had chains wrapped around her.
Chains wrapped on her leg to give her some extra weight to hold up. I mean, that was pretty good.
That is pretty impressive. I would say it's probably somewhere between 10 and 30 extra pounds, that chains.
Well, if
but
you're only 120 pounds and you're getting an extra 30 pounds of weight put on to hold, percentage wise, that's a pretty good chunk of extra weight.
Yeah, and if I said only, I don't mean to make light of it, because again, if you're lifting more than your body weight, that's pretty damn impressive. I mean, I can't do that now. It's like when I do my pull-ups or my chin-ups, I need an assistant chin-up bar and stuff like that. I have to have counterweights, and that she can't do that. That's pretty impressive. I mean, and I'm super proud of her. That's the one thing I appreciated about her, is that when she started the role, she really trained for it. And I saw her the last time when she was training for the first movie. She looked buff. She looked almost like Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2, and
I don't
again,
think she was that buff, but
no, when she was
Linda
training,
Hamilton was almost at that buff / scary.
but we never saw her arms in the movie. We never saw Captain Marvel's arms because they were covered up.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I saw her training, and when she was training, it was really aggressive. It's like she was taking this role seriously. She wanted to look good, and she did. She looked good. It was unfortunate. I would have liked to seen what her guns looked like. I'm sure they looked pretty impressive, But I think it's great, like when actors do that, because they inspire people watching, not only kids but adults. I've been inspired, like ever since I saw Rocky. That inspired me to work out. And then, you look at like Hugh Jackman, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck. I mean, someone is inspired by looking at them when they watch the movies, that I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to sign up and I want his body. I'm going to go on YouTube and see what kind of workout he does, what kind of diet he has. And I think that's great. It's like we need more of that. I need another movie like that, because I need to get motivated again after being away for so long. After COVID, damn COVID. Oh, so did you see that new Infinity Gauntlet that they're coming out with, Hasbro?
I saw that. Hey, you know what? If a kid wants to pretend he could snap and make people disappear, that's good for him. But it looks cool, but I don't know how much of a toy it is. Like,
yeah,
the range of what you could play is a little bit limited.
Well, it's expensive. It's like $125.
But come Christmas, if kid wants it, the parents are gonna save and go crazy trying to find it for a good deal. But
this one is the Iron Man version,
right? The smaller glove. It's not the big hulking Thanos glove.
And I think they made a previous one, but this one you can snap. And I guess that there is audio in it, and you can hear the snap, and the lights flash, and you can actually move your fingers more flexibly. What is it? It's called Electric Fist, features flexible finger articulation. And
it's a glove.
Oh, and the Infinity Stones are removable, and well, I figured they light up. They all light up too, but I think that's kind of cool that they're removable. Although, again, if I had a kid, I wouldn't trust him. It's like, can I take the Infinity Gauntlet out to play? It's like, Ma, I lost the Time Stone.
Oh, there's got to be, order your additional set somewhere, because if they pop off where the kids could go and say, oh, I'm going to take this one off. And they're going to be lost in a couple of weeks. But then again, this could be one of those collector's toys. If, like you said, considering how expensive it is, this is for, comic book guy to get to put on his shelf.
Yeah, I would go nuts if at $125, I guess it's expensive for a kid, but I guess like most adults, if they bought it for themselves and they lost a stone, they'd buy another one,
Right.
for $125. My problem with this, though, I think it's a little too late. If they're going to release something like this, release it in 2019 when the movie came out. I think we're past the Infinity Gauntlet now.
Kind of, yeah. We've kind of moved on. Endgame has come and gone. Everybody loved it. Everybody was amazed by it, but we're at the stage now waiting for the next big thing to come along.
Yep. So Disney or Disney Plus released some new images of What If.
Yes. And, very interesting.
Yeah, looks pretty cool. Got one of Sharon Carter with the Howling Commandos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that a lot.
There used to be a lot of fun what if stories in the comics. Yeah. And it's kind of nice to see them take that up again, that like, you know what, let's just do something for fun. Let's just make this wacky story and see what happens. We'll take a wacky idea and just play it straight. And that's what if used to do. And I remember they did a great story one time where we were talking about Venom last week. They did one where the symbiote kept kind of moving from superhero to superhero rather than
they were still doing What If when Venom was out.
Yeah. Not on a regular basis, but they would have like a what if special every so often. And eventually, it went through and eventually it got to Thor. So you had Venom Thor. And eventually it left Thor to go back to Peter Parker when Peter Parker had used up Peter Parker's youth. That, it was really a parasite where it wasn't a symbiote, it was a parasite. And as it stayed on somebody, it would be draining their youth, their essence. So Peter Parker shows up and he's nearly an old man, and the symbiote goes back to him at the end and they both pass. But I mean, it was kind of a cool story seeing how all the heroes are trying to prevent themselves from being caught by the symbiote. So like I said, they do some crazy what if stories, but they're fun. And this, from the pictures you showed from that Peggy Carter,
yeah,
as Captain America, it looked kind of cool. I'm looking forward to it.
And it's really nice animation.
Yes, beautiful. It's not the typical, well, what was the standard Marvel animation for several years. Well, this actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, like something that we'd see on Disney Plus, like Avengers Assemble. It's not like that. It's like, or Ultimate Spider-Man on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that animation, all that stuff. I just didn't like that animation style.
Yeah, I was watching an animated movie recently. It's a weird one. Did you ever hear Little Nemo: Adventures in Slumberland?
I've heard of it. I've never watched it though.
It was done in the 80s. It was on Amazon Prime, so I was watching it. It's kind of weird. I couldn't really get through it, but the animation, it's basically a Japanese anime, but they worked with Disney, or not necessarily Disney, but a lot of the Disney animators were consultants for that movie. And Chris Columbus was also part of, I think he directed it or something like that. But the animation looks stunning. When you look at something that was done like in the 70s or the 80s, and you compare the animated movies that we see today, they're just lazy, I mean, not Pixar, but like, how like some hand-drawn like stuff that you see on the Cartoon Network, or it just doesn't look like they put any effort into it, like Teen Titans Go, It's almost like they
It's
scribbled.
but it's that style that they go with. I mean, honestly, it's not the greatest drawn show, but I've gotten into Bob's Burgers lately.
Oh no, I liked Bob
And
Burgers
it's,
too.
let's face
Yeah.
it, this is not top grade animation, but you know what? It fits that type of show where they're all just kind of goofy, weird characters. And
No, I'm fine with that. If the story is good for that stuff, which Bob Burgers is, I'm okay. Especially like, look at South Park. Now that's crap animation, but they do it because they try to get they tried to used to get those episodes out, really quick, especially
oh,
when,
very fast. You'd see
you know,
something in the news that on Friday, and they'd have an episode addressing it on Wednesday.
yeah, so I could see that, but if you're putting a series together, like something that's on the Cartoon Network or Bugs Bunny or even Mickey Mouse, you look at the stuff that they have on Disney Plus with Mickey Mouse,
Oh, the new Mickey Mouse stuff is
that kind of
terrible.
is Teen Titans Go or like the Dexter Laboratory sort of look. Um, yeah, it's just that you look at the backgrounds and it's like they don't even care. They just don't even care.
Well, I
And
liked Dexter's
I
Laboratory.
love Dexter's Laboratory, but that was the first animated show to, use that imagery, that style of animation where it was very minimalistic, and like the
Right.
backgrounds weren't really anything to look at, and neither were the characters. But again, it was a funny show.
Omelette du fromage.
You stole my line, Didi. um, but also in What If, another picture they released is Nick Fury and Hawkeye, which looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
no, the animation looks good on it. So
what's weird too is, remember, it was like we were about to do an episode, and then all of a sudden Disney and Marvel dropped all this stuff, you know, uh, and we had to, like, it was WandaVision trailer, it was the Winter Soldier trailer, or Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki trailer, Phase 4 stuff, Star Wars stuff, like
right,
that.
it was the shareholders meeting or
Yeah,
something,
it was
right?
something like that. But they dropped a trailer for What If too. I mean, and there was so much going on that day that I barely focused on it. But I looked at it again. That thing is that trailer is awesome. And again, I was a huge fan of What If, and that was something like, if I worked at Marvel or Disney, and they would say, Joe, what do you think? What should we do? I would have said What If, because there's so many things that you can do with that.
So
It's
many
like,
crazy ideas
yeah.
that they could do.
I mean, like, again, they had the stupidest things. Like, then they have one like where, like, what if Aunt May was bitten by a radioactive spider?
Or she was the Herald of Galactus.
Yeah,
Or they did wacky ones like, what if the Marvel bullpen had superpowers?
yeah, that one was
You
goofy.
know, they did all sorts of crazy, strange stuff. But I mean, I remember they kicked it off with like, what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, I remember that one too.
And
Yeah,
that was a good story. Or what did they do? Something with the Hulk. Like, what if the Hulk kept his intelligence, and even though he was smart, people still hated him because he was the Hulk? I mean, they did a lot of fun stuff.
I think
What
they
if
had it.
Captain America never went into the ice? But yeah,
They,
all sorts of weird stuff.
yeah, they
But they
had,
were fun.
like, what if Wolverine killed the Hulk in Canada?
Hmm.
Yeah, and again, it's stuff, and they did that with Star Wars with the Infinites, which I really liked.
Well, I like the first one. I didn't care too much for the second, for the further ones going, but the first one was a really fun story.
I'm trying to think. Oh, Luke didn't blow up the Death Star, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I think the second one was if Luke died on Hoth, froze to death
yeah.
on Hoth.
And then Luke told Han that he needed to go to Hoth, and Han thought he was the chosen one, but it ended up being Leia. And then
he turns to the dark side.
that's the third one. And then Vader survives, and then he turns good, and he's got the Darth Vader costume,
but it's all white.
It's all white. I think that would still scare the crap out of me. Oh man, those were cool. Anyway, looking forward to it. So I also showed you some pictures from Matt Reeves, the Batman, and one that we looked at was the Riddler.
I didn't know it was the Riddler. I have to say though, I like the bat suit. There's something about the style of, you know what is, it's the cowl with the tall ears. I think that kind of looks cool.
So I'm looking at the bat suit right now, and this was from a calendar. I like the colors. Like the colors are black and gray, like it should be. Because I mean, I remember like Michael Keaton's, it was basically all black.
Right.
Like the first two movies and stuff like that. Batman Forever, I think that was still all black. And then even, The Dark Knight, that Batman was, I think it was all black, wasn't it? Or dark?
No, you're right. Once again, it's all this dark black, and seeing some gray thrown in there, it gives it a little bit of contrast.
Which was cool with Ben Affleck's costume. It was
which was cool with Ben Affleck's. It looked like the Batman we knew from the comics, that it's not just black. You can make out his arms, his legs from the rest of the costume more easily. And I kind of like this costume, but all the other crazy stuff they seem to be doing. I saw that picture. I didn't know that was supposed to be the.
Well, no, I want to say, look, with Batman, the one thing that irritates me about the costume is his cowl. It looks like it's in pieces.
Really, that's the part I like.
I don't know. It looks like it's in pieces. It looks like a Lego thing, and his ears, or his bat ears, they kind of look like antenna. They're very thin, almost like pencils, which is, I don't like it. But he's got a strap around his thigh, which I guess like holds maybe his batarang, or his what does he shoot to go from building to building?
Oh, his grappler gun,
grappling hook, or something like that. That might be it. I think that's kind of cool. I don't like the bat emblem because we'd seen it close up, and it's basically two guns. Or apparently, it's the gun that Joe Chill used to murder his parents, split in half to make the bat wing.
Oh, now you see, I didn't know about that, and the pictures
we talked about it. We talked about it a long time ago.
Yeah, but I mean, I haven't seen that emblem up close to realize it's like, oh, those are the shape of two guns. I haven't seen it in the pictures, or I didn't notice it. So
you did. You just don't remember. We talked about it a long time ago with Taylor when we first saw images of the Batman. But yeah, I
mean, the duct tape Riddler, I don't know.
Oh yeah, getting to the Riddler. Yeah, it's weird. I looked at him. So the one that looks like it's right from the film. What's weird is he's wearing glasses, like regular glasses, like you would buy at like Lens Crafter or something like that.
Well, if that's the biggest costume change they're going to make, that's fine. I just, like I said, I don't.
It's very bizarre
about this stuff,
because he's very bulky too. Like I think they're trying to go completely different, because usually when we think of the Riddler, we think of someone that's very skinny.
What was Fred Gorshin?
Fred Gorshin, and even Jim Carrey's Riddler looked pretty good. So they're making him very dark. Doesn't look like he's got any question marks on him. He's wearing like an army jacket with a hood, and then his whole face is covered up. And he's got like a grill where his mouth is, or like his mouth is kind of, sewn shut. He looks a little bit like either the Tin Man or Dr. Doom almost, with glasses. It's really weird. I don't like it at all. I know some people, again, I think there's a lot of DC fans that anything that DC comes out with, they're like, oh, that's awesome.
I guess I just don't get it.
If he didn't have the glasses on, I would think he was Bane.
I just look at it like, from what we've seen of it, where I can't believe Bruce Wayne would watch Edward Scissorhands and go, "That's the look I like." You know, everything I've seen of it, except for, like I said, the Batman costume, just hasn't impressed me at all. I
haven't.
Dump on Warner Brothers, but they just do so little right, in my opinion, with their superhero properties, that it's a shame, because here it is, you have some of the biggest characters in pop culture and you squander them.
It's kind of like with Lucasfilm did with Star Wars towards the end. You know, they're like, we just need to put Star Wars on the movie marquee. We'll still make money. Don't worry about the story. People are going to see it no matter what. And I feel like that's what they're doing with this Batman movie, because the trailer didn't do anything for me. The Batmobile looks horrible. I do not like it at all. They're trying to go with realism, it seems. Again, like the Batmobile is like a car from the 70s, I guess.
Well, I mean, Chris Nolan went to make a more realistic Batman type movie. And it worked pretty much. I like I said, it almost looks to me like they're doing a flashback. Like we talked not too long ago about Dick Tracy. Like they try to make it like a stylish pseudo noir kind of setting. And that could work with Batman, absolutely, but they're just not doing it very well from what I've seen.
Yeah, and they're gonna screw things over because they got too many villains in it. I know they have Catwoman, the Riddler, Penguin. I don't know who else is in it, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's more villains. Too many villains all at once. Just have one villain. That's all you need.
Will sneak in there somewhere pop out behind the curtain. Hi, I'm the Joker.
Wouldn't surprise me, but it wouldn't surprise me too if was it Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, because it seems like it's set in that time period, you know. And I did hear they're making a Joker too.
Okay.
Which I don't think is necessary. I think they should just stop, because
I didn't think the first one was necessary.
You didn't see it, dude. And again, it won an Oscar for Best Actor. I could say, again, usually you believe me when I see something, when I say something and it's good.
No, you said Invincible was good and I loved it. I do trust you sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's not going to work with the Joker. Sorry, dude.
All right. Maybe your son will force you to watch it one day.
No.
Okay. Anyway, that's the news. Let's get into the Bad Batch.
Bum, bum, bum.
So this last episode was called The Replacements. And what did you think of this one?
I liked it. I thought there were some very interesting parts. I like Crosshair's team. The whole debate on soldiers versus clones, or
I like that part
men
too. Mm-hmm.
Versus clones. That was very interesting. That Tarkin sent them out just to see what would happen, and the Prime Minister was right. If it was clones follow orders. Enlisted people have their own life experiences, and they might not be as quick to obey, which was exactly the case when the replacements went to that planet. And it's like, wait, these aren't terrorists. These are just refugees. This is not what we signed up for. So that was interesting. The other part of it where they crash landed on a planet and aliens stole the power converter and took off, and they had to go track it, and the little girl saves the day. And then you had a little heartwarming story of Wrecker making a little room for her on the ship so she feels more welcome. There were a couple of different elements to it. Um, Honestly, I think the big element was the training of Crosshair's team. I The rest of the episode felt really like filler. I don't think it advanced any stories too much of, she's getting comfortable with the crew and they're all looking out for her. But I think the biggest plot motivation was the fact of the Empire trying to save some money by enlisting people versus going with clones again.
Yeah, I thought this was filler episode, but I agree with you with the whole thing with Crosshairs and his team and how Crosshairs has become like the true villain of the series now, which is good. I hope they don't fix him. I don't know if they can now that he did what he did. Um, like is he really redeemable? Like
Well,
irredeemable.
it's part of he's being affected by the clone programming. Not to make light of the statement just following orders, but that's ingrained in him at the cellular level. So and then he's got the chip in his head that doesn't give him any choice in the matter anyway. So he
It
can
was
be redeemed. He's not irredeemable,
it was a little
but he's
different though.
the orders he's following are typical Grand Moff Tarkin, just pure heartless stuff. So I think he could be redeemable, but you'd have to go into a story arc to show him really trying to make amends for it,
Well, I
which could be a
think
whole different season of storyline for that character.
I just hope they don't. I think that another issue that they had was the human recruit was against the fact that the clone was even part of their team. Saying that you're just you're not even really human. It's like I'm not going to take orders from you and all that. And I think that also made Crosshairs very, very angry over the fact that he thought he was better than him. So it kind of gave him an excuse to kill him by him not following orders. And then he told the other ones, it's like, now go kill, those innocent people because I said so,
Well, that,
and
like I said, that's feeding into I think the overlying theme of the Empire phasing out the clones. I mean, we've seen that the clones flip to the other side, but there's a reason that there are such strong prejudices against them. Well, in the expanded universe, before that was wiped away, there was people always had a problem with clones because of the Clone Wars. And like I said, I think we're starting to see that theme feed in to the Disney Plus series.
but again, that whole part was minor compared to the rest of the story, which was them with the power converter crap. And that's what the filler episode was. It's like, was that really necessary that they had to crash land on the planet and then they fix the damn thing and then he doesn't close the cover and then that dragon takes it away. So now my problem with this series, and you will remember for the first two episodes, I said I had no problem with Omega. I thought she was a good character and all that. But now I come to the conclusion that she is a Mary Sue, that she basically is almost like a Jar Jar Binks character where,
Oh, you're really going
well, no,
far the other way.
well, when I say she's like a Jar Jar Binks character, it's almost like even if she makes a mistake, that mistake will turn to the right thing, Um, and I think, she's basically there to rescue the Bad Batch from things that go wrong and stuff like that. Because you remember when they were escaping in the beginning, she was the one that sniped Crosshairs, and then in this one, he lost his breathing apparatus, and she put it on him, and then she retrieved the I don't know, the fuel cell or whatever the hell it was, from the dragon, by switching like a flashlight with him and stuff like that, which made no sense.
Well, I think it was because by turning it on, it
I know why, but I'm just saying it just was like kind of bizarre. Are you
am I
there?
still there, Joe? Can you
I
can you
hear your
hear me?
voice. I just don't see you. There, I see you now.
Weird. Something weird is going on. It must be the web connection because my iPad was acting funny as well, and
Well,
it's
we're almost done.
yeah, but I think it's a little too early to pass judgment as a Mary Sue. But I'm curious to see what her ability, what they built into her is. And I think eventually we'll figure it out. Maybe these are all clues going forward. Maybe she's, I don't know, like an instinctive genius that she looks at things and comes up with different solutions that on the
That'd be
surface
fine.
make
That'd be
sense.
fine. But again, she can't be overly perfect, which it seems like they're making her out to be. Even
Oh,
when
I don't
she,
think she's overly perfect, but I think
even
she has extreme luck.
like even when she saw the dragon, like the first time, she didn't scream. She just yelled, you know. And then when she was down in the cave with him, again, she didn't scream. She just gasped. It's like, to me, that's just a little bizarre that a little girl would not have any kind of problem with seeing a monster like that.
But
And
she's not just a little girl. She is
it could be
a
right.
genetic experiment.
Yeah. All right, I'll give you that.
And it could be she's been programmed. Well, I mean, look at her parent figures, were the Kenotians. No, Kaminoans?
Yeah.
What do you call them? Were these weird looking aliens. So that little dragon thing might not have been too weird considering what they might have as pets on those bases.
Could be.
But, you know, I thought it was a scary looking thing. I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to meet it.
No,
But
me
then
too. In the
again, I
dark
didn't
too.
grow up around those things. So we don't know for sure, but I think we're going to see a little bit more develop out of her. And I think once it's revealed, I'm kind of thinking what we're seeing is little bits of clues about her. And I don't know. We'll see what
I
happens.
think you're giving them too much credit. Um, I'm gonna predict this. I think there's gonna be an episode where, and I haven't read what the episodes are about, but I think it's gonna be where Wrecker, we'll say Wrecker or one of the Bad Batch, gets bitten by something. They need an antidote, and she's the only one that can retrieve it. And she saves whoever is in peril, or it'll be her. She'll be bitten by something, and then they have to save her. Someone has to save her. I just have a feeling the way this
Oh, I
writing
think it's
is.
only a matter of time before she gets snatched and they go on a rampage and get her back.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Because
But
then we'll see Wrecker Hulk out. And
yeah,
we'll start to see how ruthless clones could be when they're going after an objective.
but bottom line, these last two episodes has not been as good as the first episode. Um, they're about average. Hopefully, it'll get better, but I don't know.
That's a fair assessment. The first one was really good because we were learning more about the Bad Batch. The last two episodes, well, the second episode was pretty much completely about her. About Hunter trying to give her a better home than flying around space with 4 clone troopers. This one, it was her helping, like wanting to tag along and help, and she got her chance to help and save the day, as it turned out. But I don't think we could stick. I don't think they could stick with that formula of having her be the center of each episodes. Eventually, she's going to have to be put a little bit in the background to move the rest of the story along. Because, like I said, I think there is just an underlying story about the growth of the empire out of the Republic continuing. And I'd be interested to see how the clones play out, because here they still have an army of clones, still have tons of clones around. And obviously the enlisted people don't trust them, don't like them. And Tarkin wants to get rid of them.
Well, he's having his doubts now. So we'll see. All right, let's wrap this one up. So, Jack, can you tell everyone where they can find you?
You can always send me email at jackm@wdwnt.com, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can.
And if you want, you can email me at joe@wdwnt.com or send me a friend request on Facebook. Also, if you like our show and enjoy other WDWNT podcasts and would like to become a Patreon supporter, please visit WDWNT's Patreon page at www.patreon.com/WDWNT and check out Walt Disney World News Today, Disneyland News Today, as well as Universal Parks News Today for all your Disney and Universal news. And please remember to visit the Carousel of Products, where there's a ton of fun WDWNT merchandise on sale.
But nothing from us.
And finally, please subscribe to the WDWNT Entertainment channel on YouTube, where you can find Nerd Alert and other WDWNT original programming available there. So with that, this will be the end of WDWNT Nerd Alert Season 7, Episode 17.
You have got to stutter W's by the time we're done with an episode for like a week.
What? So anyway, yeah, so this is the end of WDWNT Nerd Alert Season 7, Episode 17. So until next time, see ya.
Good night, and be good to each other.